Do you prefer dogs over pigs now?
Yeah, well, my pig, I had him for 18 years, Charlie, and you know, when he finally died after 18 years, I felt that I'd had enough of pigs, so to speak.
So, okay, George, you're you're quite a good-looking guy, and you seem to be quite a nice person. But I have to say that I'm not sure a pig would really be in my top 10 list of most desirable things about you.
You haven't had a pig, Mara.
That is correct.
You don't understand.
Yes. So tell us.
And by the way, in case the earthquake hits, you got food for a week, and that's important.
Is it true that you used to sleep with the pig in your bed?
Well, when he was little, he would come up and jump on the bed. He got a little too big to actually spend in the bed. And there's so many jokes I could make right now, but I'm not gonna.
Okay. Did you really like having a pig as a pet?
I loved it. You know, pigs are really smart.
Yeah.
And he was funny, and he made me laugh. But they're work because they'll destroy everything if you let them.
How big was he when he died, George? It was like 300 pounds?
How big?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't like to talk about weight, Charlie, but he was probably
I'm a little
about
sensitive on that subject myself.
It was about maybe 250 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a good-sized pig.
You also like to play practical jokes.
Yes.
What's the longest practical joke you ever played on anyone?
Well, I did one that lasted 5 or 6 years. I found a painting that was being thrown away. It was out in the garbage. It was a horrible painting, giant picture of this sort of naked woman, and you're not quite sure what it is, and it was awful. Clearly, like the wife said, throw it out, you know, after he'd painted it. And I finally stopped one night, and I just picked it up, and I took it home, and I got it framed, and I got some paint, and I signed my name to it. And for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, my buddy Richard Kind, who's a wonderful actor, I would say, he'd say, you want to play golf? And I would say, I can't, I have art class. And on the way to places, I would stop at an art supply store, and I would go in and just make up crap about, like, see these brushes, these are like number 2, they're for short strokes. And Richard would say, like, I think this is fantastic what you're doing. And then for his 40th birthday, I said, you know, I've done a lot of paintings, but this is the first one I'm really proud of, and I want you to have it. And I gave it to him, and it's this huge, I mean, it's 5 feet long, horrible, horrible painting. And he opens it up, and he's like, it's great. So I said, it looks so good above your couch in the living room. And he's got a 1-bedroom apartment. So he hangs it up over his living room, and everyone else knew but him. And so everyone would come over and compliment him about the painting. And I did that, I let it ride for about 5 years. And then finally, I think I did a talk show, and I told him to turn on the TV and watch it. And he watched me tell the story, and then he called me up going, I hate that painting. I've always hated that painting. So that made me laugh. When you grow up with parents who are idealistic, you're very proud later in life. It's a little trickier when you're young. Like my sister would babysit, and I would shovel snow and things like that to make money. And then my father would get letters from people who were less fortunate, who weren't going to have Christmas. And my sister and I, we would have to learn about their children and go shopping with our money to find presents for them. And on Christmas morning, we would all show up at their home and give them the presents and spend the morning with them. And it's a really wonderful thing, and I'm very proud that my parents taught me that. It wasn't as much fun when you're a kid, you know, but I'm very proud of it now. I was a reluctant good kid, you know.
Tell us about Sudan. Why did you choose that particular conflict to be, you know, your mission?
It really was a genocide. People love to talk about it as, you know, mass atrocities, whatever you want to call it. There were hundreds of thousands of people being killed and mowed down, sort of innocent people.
George, one of the things you have done is to organize this satellite in order to look down in terms of Sudan and watch for troop movements or whatever else you might detect. How is it working?
We were laying out in the middle of the desert. I was looking up at the stars and I said, how come you can Google Earth my house, but you can't Google Earth, this area where, war criminals walk? And so we started working on the premise that, well, why not? It's spying if you're a country, but if it's me with a 400-mile long lens, what are you going to sue me? So we got Harvard involved. Because you need to understand it and you need analysis from it. But what we've been really fortunate enough to get, we put cameras right on the border between North and South, because the North keeps trying to argue where that border is.
Sorry to interrupt you, just so I understand exactly how this works. You're talking about using Google Earth to essentially look at Sudan from the sky. You put cameras on the ground to watch the border and basically watch the Sudanese government and prevent them from lying about what they're doing there.
Right. We have people on the ground that give us coordinates, and we every single day take photographs, and we put them up online, put them all over the internet. And they've been effective enough that the International Criminal Court about a month ago used our photographic evidence of mass graves, of helicopters, of tanks, to be able to charge the defense minister in the Sudan with crimes against humanity, with war crimes, which has been, for us, a great source of pride.